Hi, my name is Kaylee, and you're watching the Youth Code Jam Bits and Bytes video series. And this video today is going to be part of our digital literacy series. And today, specifically, we'll be talking about how to use computer files and what exactly a computer file is. So let's jump right into it. So, what is a file? A file is a resource for recording data in a computer storage device. Just like words can be written on a paper, so the equivalent of that on a computer would be writing information to a computer file. This concept is probably something that you use all the time. You just maybe don't think about it in that way. But there are different kinds of files for different needs. So if you have something you just want to have text on, you might use like a Word document or a Notepad document or a PDF. Like these are file types. For images and pictures, some common ones are like JPEGs, PNGs, perhaps you've heard of some of those. For videos, you have like MP4s and other file types that can hold a video. There are things like PowerPoints, so you have Microsoft's version of PowerPoint, but then also the Google Slides, that's a different file type too. So basically anything that's going to hold information like that you can save and edit and manipulate, those are all files. How do I know what type of file something is? So in our File Explorer, which we will take a look at in just a bit, I took a screenshot of one of my screens on my File Explorer, and these are all of the files that are in a certain place for me. And if you notice, at the end of all of the names of these things that I have is a dot and then 3 or 4 characters at the end. So this one's PDF, this one's PNG, this one's docx. So these are called file extensions, and that just tells you what type of file is this. So this first one up here, the symptom checklist, is a PDF, meaning it might have some pictures and text, but primarily it looks like a piece of paper. This .png tells me that this important cues FG file is a picture because PNG is the file type for pictures. In the same vein, this docx tells me that this homework 1 key, the second one that I have, is a Word document file, which the little icon over here can give me a clue as well as the file type that's expanded in this column here. So we have PDF, PNG, Word document, and so on and so forth for all of these. There are other kinds of file extensions that are not shown here, such as like the ones for videos or PowerPoints, but you can look up what kind of file something is based on the 3 or 4 characters after the dot in the file name. And so files typically are stored in folders. There's some examples of what folders look like in the Windows environment here. If you have a Mac, your file folders might look like this blue one over here. If you have Windows, they'll probably look a little bit more like this yellow one, which is what I have. And so if you look, we have the file icon that tells us that this is a file folder, which is confirmed by the file type over here. We have some more information about it, and then we have the name of the file, which is what most people I think are used to looking at. And at the top of our File Explorer, we have what's called the file path, and that tells us which folders we are in, because you can have a file inside of a folder, inside of a folder, inside of another folder. And so this helps you keep track of, this is a folder that I started with, and then within this PC, I went to my desktop folder, and inside of my desktop folder, I went to my apartment folder, and that's where all of these files live. So if you ever know where a file lives, but you don't want to search for it, you can type in the chain of folders that it's coming from in the file path up here, and that will take you where you need to go. So I'm going to actually show you that real time. If you're in the Windows environment, your file icon might look a little bit like this, or look for the blue folder if you're on Mac. So I'm going to oh, it came up over here. This is my File Explorer. And so this is like where the file path would be. These are some of the files that I showed you earlier. We have a quick access bar over here that's got different folders that I can navigate to. So here I'm in my desktop folder. And then if I wanted to open my apartment folder, I could type /apartment, and that would open up the apartment folder. So typing it in up here would be the same as clicking into this folder. It will take me to the same place. But if you're proficient at typing, it's a lot faster to type it in up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my desktop over here, and we're going to practice creating some folders and files. So I'm going to right click. If you're on a laptop with a touchpad, that might be 2 fingers, or if you have a mouse, right click. I'm going to come down to New and go up to where it says Folder. Again, if you're on Mac, it might be a little bit different, but the keyword should be more or less the same. And so I'm going to name my folder Foods, and I will press the Enter key, and it's alphabetized, I guess, here, so it brought my folder up here, but it's still here. And so if I wanted to, if I like hover over it, it tells me when it was created, and it also tells me that it's empty, which we're going to change in a little bit. But I'm going to right click again, and it gives me a lot of options. The ones that you'll probably use the most are down here. Cut, copy. I have the option to delete it from here, but what I'm going to do is rename it instead, and I'm going to call it the Best Foods, because that's what we will be putting in our folder today. And if I want to open my folder, then I can double click it, and my folder is empty as it tells me, but I'm inside of the folder now. And so I'm going to right click inside of my folder, come to New again, but this time, instead of creating another folder, I'm going to create a Word document, a docx file. And as you see, it's got the little file extension here, and I can't change that, but I can change the name in front of it. So this first one, I'm going to call Ice Cream. I'm going to press Enter, and then it updated the name. And to get into the document, I'm going to double click it. And so this is my file, and the Best Foods that I made is the folder that the file is in. So we'll give my computer a second to open this ice cream file. There it goes. And I'm going to move this to one side of my screen. And a little trick that you can use is if you are able to drag your window around and you only want it to take up half of your screen, you can just kind of hit it against the edge, and if you see the square that came up that's kind of translucent, and I let it go, and it fills in half automatically, and then it gives me an option. What do I want to fill the other half with? So I'm going to come back here and click this, and now I've got 2 perfect halves without having to do some weird resizing, which can save you some time. But so now I want to put stuff inside of my file, right? I don't want it to just be empty. So since I called it ice cream, I'm going to look up when was ice cream invented. And if you practice that home row typing that you might have learned in school, it goes a little faster to type things. And ice cream like food was first eaten in China in 618 to 97 AD. Milk and rice mixture frozen by packing into snow. That's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some copy paste, which you might remember from our shortcuts bits and bytes activity. So I'm going to highlight all of this, and since it's faster than typing it, I'm going to Control C to copy it because I'm on a Windows device. I'm going to click back over here, Control V to paste it, And I also want to take one of these pictures as just a visual. I think this pink one is really pretty. So I'm going to right click. Oh, I guess I have to click on it. Let's see. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy image, and that will do the copy for me. So all I need to do is come back over here and paste it. Oh, no, I guess it didn't copy. Let's try that again. Copy image. Paste. There we go. Paste picture. And the way I got that menu was just by right-clicking on my file. Oh, that's a really big picture. Okay, so next we're going to come up to our save icon up here, and we're going to make sure that we save our work. And then we're going to create another file to put inside of our folder. And since I want another Word file, I can do it from within here. So we saw how to create files using our what's called the File Explorer, which is this window right here. But you can also create files from within the program itself, and Word is like our program here. So I'm going to click File, New, Blank Document, and that'll be another way, and we'll see we have this new one here. And so next, I want to save it just to make sure that it's always a good idea to save your work. And I haven't named this one yet, so I'm going to call it M and M's because I think that's a pretty cool food. And then I get to choose a location. So it might default to the desktop for you, but we want to go ahead and find the folder that we made. So I'm going to click on this, and I made the folder on my desktop, so I'll click there. Oh wait, actually, we should navigate to it. So I'm going to click Browse down here, and that will take me to my File Explorer to go ahead and choose where is the folder. So I'm going to go find my desktop because that's where I started, and then I'm going to find my folder that I called the best foods and click on that. And I can see my ice cream dock, and this is where I want to save the M&M's one as well. So since I'm in the right place, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And kind of like I did earlier, I'm going to do the trick of hitting it against the side wall to make it bigger. And then on this right side, I still want my internet, so I can look up some things about M&M's. So to highlight all of the text, I'm going to use my Control A to select all of it instead of having to go and highlight it all. So when were M&M's invented? And autocorrect already had some for me, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. That's what I wanted. Oh, and I'm in images, but I probably want to go to all so I can see. Here we go. M&M's were first released in 1941. So I'm going to copy this, and over here I'm going to do Control V to paste it, a couple enters for returns. Then I'm going to come back to images for the internet here. I think this one is pretty cool. So I'm going to take this image. I'm going to right click and copy image, then click back over to my Word document, Control V to paste it. And since I made some changes, I want to make sure that I save it again. And it will tell me that it's saved and all up to date, which is awesome. And so if we look at our file folder, which I'm going to pull up from my taskbar down here, I have the best foods and I have my ice cream and M&M's documents. That's awesome. And so I'm going to create one more document. You can do this, if you're following along with me, you can do this using Word or using the File Explorer, but I'll use the File Explorer. So I'm going to right click, New Word document, and I'm going to call this one potato chips. enter when I'm done, and then double click to open it. Double click is typically how you would open a file. Again, I'm going to use my trick of hitting it against the left side to make it the right size that I want. And on the right side, I want my internet again. So I can look up, I'll do Control A to select all of the text. When were potato chips invented? Oh, I'm still in images, so let's go back to all. 1853. That's pretty crazy. So Control C after I've highlighted everything to copy it. Control V over here to paste it, and hit enter a couple of times. And then I'm going to go back to images for the internet and look for a potato chip image that I like. This one looks pretty delicious. So I'm going to right click and copy my image, come back over to my Word document and Control V to paste it. Well, I better make sure that I save it since I made some changes since the last time I saved it. And next I'm going to close these out. And now if we go back to my File Explorer, we will see all three of these documents, and I can open any of them by double clicking again to see again where the changes that I made. So hopefully, if you were not already familiar with how to manipulate Word documents or just documents in general, or I guess files as we're calling them today, or file folders and how those work and how you can have folders inside of folders, I hope that our lesson today makes those things make a little bit more sense and would make you feel a little bit more comfortable with manipulating files, because at the end of the day, that's what most of the things that we're working with are. So thank you so much for watching.